Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Tombstone Tourist. This week, I'm staying close to home. In fact, I only had to drive a couple of miles to the Sunset Cemetery here in Christiansburg, Virginia. Sunset is the largest cemetery in Christiansburg and one of the largest in the New River Valley. It was originally a small family cemetery with the first burials here dating back to the early 1800s. The cemetery was officially incorporated in 1879 as a public burying ground for the residents of the growing community. Many of the area's Civil War veterans are resting here, most notably soldiers from the 4th, 11th, 54th, and 63rd Virginia Infantry. Today, the town of Christiansburg maintains the records for those resting here and is responsible for its maintenance and upkeep. In past videos, I've visited a number of NASCAR personalities, people like Tim Flock, Buddy Baker, and J.D. McDuffie. This week, I'm going to step back to the early days of NASCAR and visit one of racing's journeyman independent drivers, who was born and raised right here in Christiansburg. Now, it's probably a safe bet that the majority of today's NASCAR fans will have no idea who I'm talking about. But fans from the 1960s and 1970s will recall the man who drove car number 25 long before it was made famous by Folgers and Tim Richmond. Resting here in Section Y of Sunset Cemetery is NASCAR driver Jabe Thomas. Jabe Thomas was born here in Christiansburg on May 12, 1930. Growing up, Jabe developed an interest in cars and could often be found tinkering with them at home and at local garages. When he was in his 20s, Jabe began racing on dirt tracks in Southwest Virginia. He soon developed a reputation as one of the area's best dirt track drivers. He was so good that he won the 1958 track championship at the Radford Speedway in Radford, Virginia. Jabe owned a local gas station here in Christiansburg, which allowed him to earn a living and support his racing. When he was 35 years old, Jabe embarked on a 13-year NASCAR Winston Cup Grand National career. His first race was the 1965 Greenville 200 at the old Greenville Pickens Speedway in Greenville, South Carolina. The race was won by Dick Hutchinson. Jabe completed only 2 laps and finished last. Jabe was undeterred by his poor showing in that first race, and for the next 13 years, he was a fixture on the NASCAR Winston Cup Grand National Circuit. Jabe was well liked by everyone in the garage and was known as quite a jokester. Some even compared him to Joe Weatherly, who was known as the Clown Prince of Racing. Jabe was always pulling pranks on fellow drivers, crew members, and yes, even NASCAR officials. No one could escape Jabe's humor and pranks. One of his favorite pranks was slipping chicken bones into the pockets of other drivers right before the start of a race. Sometimes they wouldn't find them until after the race started. When they did, they knew they'd been had by Jabe. One of the interesting facts that I found while visiting Jabe's grave was that 5 Hall of Fame drivers, Ned Jarrett, Bobby Allison, Wendell Scott, Buddy Baker, and Richard Petty, have all driven Jabe's cars. In fact, 2 of Richard Petty's 200 wins came while he was driving Jabe's Plymouth. During his NASCAR career, Jabe competed in a total of 322 races. That translates into a total of 75,243 laps, with 3 top 5 finishes. He finished in the top 10 77 times and ended up with career winnings totaling $295,497. Jabe's final NASCAR Winston Cup race was at the 1978 Delaware 500 at the Dover Downs International Speedway in Dover, Delaware. The race was won by Bobby Allison. Jabe completed only one lap and finished last. After he finished his racing career, Jabe funneled his knowledge and resources into the career of his son, Ronnie Thomas, who competed on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit from 1977 to 1989. With Jabe's guidance, Ronnie would win the 1978 NASCAR Rookie of the Year. In 1986, Ronnie was part of the first all 200-mile-per-hour starting lineup in NASCAR history. When the green flag dropped on the 1986 Winston 500 at the Alabama International Motor Speedway, every car on the track had qualified at more than 200 miles per hour. After Jabe and Ronnie's racing careers ended, they both continued to live here in Christiansburg. Jabe was a popular and familiar face in the area until he passed away at the age of 85 on June 4th, 2015. Ronnie, who is now 68 years old, still lives here in Christiansburg. Well, I'm going to end this video here at the grave of NASCAR Journeyman Jabe Thomas. If you remember Jabe or any of the people that we visit in these videos, I hope you'll share your memories in the comments. Most of the videos on this channel are cemetery related, so if you enjoy this type of content, please consider ringing that bell and subscribing. And a thumbs up is always appreciated. Now, until next week, please remember, life is a wonderful journey. Be sure to take time and enjoy it. And I'll see you down the road. So long, everybody.